What is happening, everyone? Jim the Game Guru here with another video. This time I'm going to go over some platforming games on the Nintendo Switch. Yep, one of the oldest genres in video gaming platforming ever since the early days of Super Mario. So I'm going to go over 31 games. So I've got 30 games on this list, and then most of these are already out. There is one game, the 31st game, that I'll cover that is a soon-to-be-released title. If you guys are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. And let's go ahead and dig into the list. So, the very first games, I'm going to get the most obvious games in the platforming genre out of the way. Games 1 through 4, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Those are staples in platforming from Nintendo, so top-notch quality. We all know Super Mario Brothers. If you go with multiplayer gaming, then out of these 4 games, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is probably going to be the first game you should choose for multiplayer. If you end up doing something more like single player gaming, then I would probably Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe would probably be the last one out of those 4 that I would choose. I would probably shoot for more of Super Mario Odyssey, which is amazing. In Super Mario Odyssey, you have like a hat, and you can throw it on creatures, and you can turn into those creatures, or either that or Super Mario 3D All Stars. I think in 3D All Stars, it's more of a revival of the older games. You get like the N64 Super Mario. You also have Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy. I'm not a huge fan of Galaxy, but Super Mario Sunshine is one of those games that I feel like is super underrated. It's an amazing game. It was big on the GameCube. So if you go single player route, definitely Super Mario Odyssey or Super Mario 3D All Stars that has Super Mario Sunshine. Multiplayer, then choose your Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. All right, game number 5, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. This one, there's actually 2 different versions of 2 different ukulele games. There was the older one that had a Kickstarter, and it was funded. That one is kind of okay. And then what they did was they came out with the second version, which is Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, which kind of won fans over. And it is a game where you play these 2 characters, Yuka and Lele, and you have to end up defeating this impossible level. And you can tackle this level anytime. How far you get through the level is depending on your skill level. And if you can't quite beat it, which odds are you won't be able to at first, then what you do is you can go through other levels that are gonna help you by giving these royal bees. And most of the levels in this game are all 2.5D level design. They switched from the 3D platformer they had in the original game, and then on this one they made a more 2.5 side-scrolling platforming game. Fantastic game though, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. Game number 6, Crash Bandicoot Insane Edition. This is a reboot of the older Crash Bandicoot games of 1, 2, and 3 that were on the original PlayStation. Now what they've done is they just improved the graphics. There's actually a level that they never finished in the first PlayStation versions, and there's also newer levels that they created inside for this Insane Edition that were never existing in the original games. But Crash has been a huge platforming hit on the original PlayStation, and here you go. Insane Edition gives you a complete reboot with new graphics for the Nintendo Switch. Number 7, A Hat in Time. This is a game I gave away not too long ago in a giveaway. Brilliant 3D platformer. It has actually been on multiple consoles. Like it was on the Xbox earlier, on the 360. I don't know if it was any generation console before then. In A Hat in Time, you play as a tiny space traveling girl with a big top hat. Her adventures halted when her fuel The timepieces is lost and scattered across a nearby planet. Hat Kid must now jump, fight, and stitch new hats to make her way into every nook and cranny of this new world in order to restore her fuel and resume her journey. On her way, she'll bump into the menacing mafia of cooks and goofy birds of Dead Bird Studio, the spooky shadows of Subcon Forest, and more. Very, very cute graphics. So there you go. Number 7, A Hat in Time. Awesome pickup for the Switch. Number 8, Poi Explorer Edition. Now this game is more of a kiddie style game. I feel like if you're an adult playing this, or even like an older teenager, you may not stick with this game very much. This game did get released earlier on when Super Mario Odyssey came out, so it got kind of overshadowed. I don't even think it's actually a big competition for Odyssey anyway. It's very, very simple. It's great for kids. Smooth graphics. I ended up picking up recently. It's actually pretty cheap. It's like $10. So it's one of those games that's kind of a safe bet. So if you have children that are into 3D platforming games and they've already beat Odyssey or any other 3D platform games they have, and if you want to give them something else, something new, then this is a great option. In this game, what you do is you go through and you find these like little explorer badges throughout the levels. It's kind of like the stars in Super Mario, where in Super Mario World, where you're looking around this 3D world and you'll see like the stars at certain places, and you need to find out how to get Mario up to that certain location to get the stars. Well, this is the same thing. It's got your 2 orphans. You're in a world that they're trying to become adventurers, and throughout what they do is they go through this adventure collecting these medallions for this explorer. This explorer, I can't remember what his name is. He's got this big airship, and they're on this airship, and you kind of go from kind of these sub-worlds from one world to another, collecting these medallions. There's cute enemies on the screen. There's in each world. Whenever you're in a world, there are items you have to find. Like there might be something buried in the ground, and you need to get a shovel in order to retrieve it. So just like in Super Mario World, where you have to find a way to get the stars, or find a way to open up doors, or find a way to get to certain passages, they've added that element to the game. I mean, I played a few levels of it. I think it's super cute, and it's definitely something good for kids. Number 9, Faye. I have never ever played this game before. It looks super colorful. It looks kind of mysterious in a way. Faye is a new type of platform adventure where the story is up to you to discover without hand-holding, told wordlessly through the discoveries you make during gameplay. Run, climb, and glide your way through a dark Nordic forest and explore its living, breathing ecosystem filled with secrets and mystical creatures. And that's what I get when I take a look at this game and I see its trailer and I see its gameplay videos. It looks like it's very mystical, and you're in this forest and you see these creatures. It kind of reminds me of like almost like a 3D version of Ori, but just a little different. So that's number 9, Faye. Number 10 is a game that recently came out, not too long ago. I would say probably at the end of 2020, and it's Sakuna of Rice and Ruined. Spoiled harvest goddess Sakuna finds herself banished from her opulent celestial home to an island overrun with demons. In the untamed wilderness, she must rediscover her birthright as the daughter of a warrior god and harvest goddess by weathering the elements, fighting monsters, and cultivating rice, the source of her power. And in this game, you have 2 different types of gameplay. You have this 3D section where you're growing rice and other crops and stuff, and you kind of go through and you're doing the harvesting and the planting and stuff. And then there's other sections where it's kind of 2.5D, where you're running, it's all side-scrolling platforming, you're running through these levels, and then you're eventually beating these bosses. I haven't picked this one up only because of price point. Price point has actually really pushed me off. This game runs about $40, which is cheaper than, you know, most AAA $60 games, but then again, I don't feel like this is a AAA title. I feel like this is more of an indie title. It feels more indie to me. Even though it's got great graphics, it's got this anime style, which I love, and I love watching anime, and I just like the visuals of this game. I still think it's just a little too expensive, and I'm waiting for it to hit a deep sale. You know, something maybe to get down to about $19 before I pull the trigger on this one. But it looks good. There's just, out of the content that I've seen so far, there's nothing there that kind of has actually justified its $40 price tag. But that is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Number 11, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Okay, so this is a game that is styled like an 8-bit game, and you're Shovel Knight. You're this knight with basically a shovel, and you go through. It's all the levels are hardcore platforming. And you go on an adventure with Shovel Knight to defeat the Order of No Quarter and their vile leader. And you're on basically a quest for your lost beloved. In this game, in this version, Treasure Trove, there's actually quite a few game modes you have. You have Shovel of Hope, which is like your main campaign game with Shovel Knight. Then you also have Plague of Shadows, where you are the alchemist Plague Knight. And then you have Spectre of Torment, where you take control of Spectre Knight. So you have these different adventures in these different modes where you can play as different characters and kind of see the adventure from their point of view, which is really cool. And all of these different modes are in they're platform centric. And then you have the King of Cards, where you're the King Knight. And then lastly, you have the Showdown. And in Showdown, you can have 4 people together locally playing, and you're kind of battling it out. It's kind of like almost like a battle arena type style game. That it does have a lot of platforming in that, but the main goal of that mode is to do more of a co-op battle. So Treasure Trove has all of those in there. If you don't want to go with Treasure Trove and you want to go something cheaper with Shovel Knight, you can buy the piece. You can get Shovel Knight, the separate pieces of Shovel Knight separately, so it's cheaper. I mean, Treasure Trove just gives you everything, and they did raise the price of Treasure Trove. It went at one point, it was like $25, and then I ended up picking it up on sale for like I can't remember how much it was. Like it was like $6 or something at that time. But the price of Treasure Trove, ever since they've had the other DLCs come out for it, with the King of Cards and Showdown, the price of Treasure Trove has gone kind of through the roof. It's gone up to like $40 now. So if you don't like the $40 price tag of Treasure Trove for this great platforming game, then you can actually look at buying the other pieces separately at a cheaper cost. Number 12, there's Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I absolutely love this game. This game kind of brings me back to my Castlevania days. It reminds me of like Castlevania 3. I don't know if anybody watching has played Castlevania 3 before, where you were able to transform into different characters. Well, you'd actually have 2 characters, your main character and then whichever character you decided to keep along the journey. But it reminds me a lot of Castlevania 3, in which you have different type of characters that you can actually control and switch. There's also Curse of the Moon 2, which is co-op. It has co-op functionality in it. And those are both actually pretty cheap games. They're about $10 each. And I don't know if Curse of the Moon 2 has gone up in price, but it should be around $10 to $15. But Curse of the Moon Bloodstained is fantastic. It was a game that was actually released before Bloodstained game, and I actually feel like it's better than that game. But yeah, it's a high recommend from me. Okay, so 13 and 14, we're going to get into a couple games of Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So, in Ori and the Blind Forest, the Forest of Nibel is dying. After a powerful storm gets a series of devastating events in motion, Ori must journey to find courage and confront a dark nemesis to save the Forest of Nibel. So yeah, so you're basically a creature. You're in this forest. It has amazing graphics, like the colors, the levels. I just love the aesthetics in this game. The Will of the Wisp is the actual sequel to it. Number 15, Celeste. Here with this game, you are Madeline, and you have to survive your journey to the top of Celeste Mountain and kind of discover who she is. frantic, tough as nails platformer, pixel art, side scrolling, but an absolutely beautiful game. Highly rated on Metacritic. Great musical soundtrack to the game. But yeah, I absolutely recommend Celeste. It is a pleasure to play. It's not very long though, but it is challenging. Yeah. I kind of put Celeste with along with like kind of like with Super Meat Boy and games like that, where it's very, very challenging to kind of go through the different parts of the level without getting killed. Okay, number 16, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Arctic invaders have turned Donkey Kong Island into their personal frozen fortress. And it's up to you to save the day. Play as Donkey Kong in original mode and team up with Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong, each with unique abilities. So it's just like the original Donkey Kong games that were on the Super Nintendo, same type of style, side-scrolling. This is more of a 2.5D instead of a 2D side-scroller. You do have co-op functionality in this, and you also have Funky Kong. So if you have a child that wants to play this game and they're not very good at platforming games, then they can play as Funky Kong, which makes the game a whole lot easier because you can't die easily with that character. But that is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It's another good first party game from Nintendo for platforming. Number 17, Hunt Down. Hunt Down is a game where it's a pixel art game, side-scrolling platform where you're bounty hunters and you go through these different levels and you try to hunt down targets. It's okay as far as challenge. It's not very difficult. The sayings in the game, like with the characters, get really, really cheesy. But it is a good time co-op. I think you can go on there and mess around and hunt down bounty hunters. The platforming is not as hardcore as some of the other platforming games where you can actually fall to your death. But it's a good time if you want something kind of run and gun. Number 18, Blasphemous. A foul curse has fallen upon the land of Vistovia and all of its inhabitants. It is simply known as the Miracle. Play as the Penitent One, a sole survivor of the Massacre of the Silent Sorrow. Trapped in an endless cycle of death and rebirth, it's down to you to free the world from this terrible fate. This game reminds me of a pixel art version, side-scrolling pixel art version of like a Silent Hill game. It has that same creepy Silent Hill vibe and like morbid creatures and bosses. I had this game on my wish list. I've had it on for a while. I will eventually end up picking it up. I know when it first got released, there was a little bit of issues with performance. I'm sure by now they have kind of ironed that out. It's supposed to be something that's really, really kind of hardcore, especially with the combat, with parrying and attacking at the right time. But I absolutely love the look of this game, though. Blasphemous, number 18. Number 19, Mega Man 11. So let's go back to some of these glory days of Mega Man games where you're battling Dr. Wily and you're going through these different levels and fighting these little small minions, and then eventually you get to the end of the levels and you fight the Master Robot and you beat them for their abilities. And Mega Man 11 kind of returns to that formula where you're going through and you go through these levels and you beat the mastermind robot of that level. The graphics are completely changed now. It's not like pixel art. It's not grainy or anything like a lot of the older style Mega Man games. And now you have like this smooth, cartoony look to it. So yeah, so they've kind of, in a way, are trying to go back to their roots, trying to go back to the golden days of Mega Man. Did they do it in Mega Man 11? I don't know. I mean, it's a challenging game. But it's okay. I think maybe the formula has kind of worn itself out over the years. In the game, it's not badly priced. It's about $29, but I feel like at a good sale, which this game is always on sale. But if you can get this game for about $10, I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good steal on that. So that is Mega Man 11. Number 20 is Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2. There are quite a few of the older games of the Mega Man games that they brought over, and obviously a lot of those are ROMs that they've skinned with like a UI. And I feel like a lot of these older games, these older Mega Man games are not worth picking up on the Switch except for this Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2. And the reason why I say that is because like the old Mega Man games for the 8-bit Nintendo, it's not worth $19 or $10 or whatever. I feel like those certain games you can just take a ROM, fire it up in an emulator, and play it on a some kind of emulation device. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2, though, actually has some pretty decent titles that involve more than this old retro 8-bit games. For the Mega Man series, you have X7 and X8, which were on the PlayStation 2, and then you also have X6, which was on the original PlayStation. And this collection usually goes on sale a lot. It's about $19, which is not bad, but then it's constantly on sale, and I always see it dip down to $10. So this is probably the one in very few of the older style game ports that I would recommend for, especially for Mega Man. Number 21, Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. Say you have Rayman, Glowbox, and the Teensies are off wandering through an enchanted forest when they discover a mysterious tent filled with a series of captivating paintings. As they look more closely, they notice each painting seems to tell the story of a mythical world, while focusing on a painting that shows a medieval land. They are suddenly sucked into the painting, entering the world, and the adventure begins. Yeah, so here in this game, you are Rayman. You go through and you try to rescue these teensies, and there are so many worlds in this game. This is one of the first games that I've picked up on Nintendo Switch. There are so many worlds. It's crazy. The game looks good. It's colorful. The only big drawback to this game that just drives me absolutely crazy is that there are a lot of characters that you can actually unlock in this game, but they don't do anything different. You unlock all these characters, and they all have the same jumping, the same floating, the same the same exact abilities. It's almost like as if the different characters, all they are just different skins for the same character, which is a shame. I really wish that each of the characters would have done something different when you unlocked them. But it is a really, really good game, great platformer, and it also has full co-op play for up to 4 people, which is fantastic. Number 22, Sonic Mania Plus. So Sega decided to go back to their roots. They came out with Sonic Mania Plus, in which they brought back their old Sonic gameplay. I mean, they went through a bunch of terrible games. In the Genesis days, they had amazing Sonic games, and then even Dreamcast. I love the Sonic Adventure games, really good. And after Sonic Adventure, something happened where a lot of Sonic games they started coming out with were just total, absolute garbage. And with Sonic Mania Plus, they decided to go back to their roots and bring back that classic pixel art Sonic platforming games. And they've done a wonderful job on this. It's actually got co-op capabilities as well. If you like Sonic and you're big into the classic Sonic Adventure titles, then there you go. Sonic Mania Plus. Beautiful platforming. What if you wanted to make your own platforming game and you love Super Mario Brothers? Well, if that's the case, then Super Mario Maker 2 is the game for you. In Super Mario Maker 2, you can make your own platforming games. They do have levels in there too that you can kind of run through and to unlock things in the game. But Super Mario Maker 2, you can have complete, total creativity. Just let your imagination go wild and make your own crazy Super Mario levels. I mean, there are people out there there's some sick individuals that make the most insane, tormenting levels you could think of. And there's just a lot of people that go out there and they play these levels just to see if they can beat them. And I mean, a lot of speedrunners love Super Mario, and there's some amazing Super Mario players out there that just do the most wild and insane things I've ever seen. And a lot of them create super crazy levels in Super Mario Maker 2. And if you want to build your own and just take your imagination to the next level, definitely check out Super Mario Maker 2. One drawback to this game, though, which I'm disappointed in, is one of my favorite Super Mario Brothers games ever is Super Mario Brothers 2. And Nintendo has never gone beyond Super Mario Brothers 2 as far as that universe, that dream world. At least I don't think I missed a game that Nintendo could have created after that sometime, somewhere. I mean, I think Super Mario Brothers 2, that universe, is the only one that I've seen so far. I really wish they would have the Super Mario 2 assets in Super Mario Maker 2 so you can build Super Mario Brothers 2 levels. I think that would be super, super cool. And then maybe that would, I mean, if they did that, I could see somebody coming up with, hey, this is my own version of the next game after Super Mario Brothers 2 with the same universe. Okay, so next, what are we on now? We're at number 24, which is N++. N++. I haven't played the Switch version, but I have played this game to death on the Nintendo DS. Absolutely love the Nintendo DS. You're basically a little character in like this level, and you go around and you just collect these little gold coins, and you have to go all the way through and try to get to the exit. That's all you do in each level, is you go through efficiently as possible, collecting gold coins and going to each level. The controls are fantastic, very minimalistic graphics with N++. It's almost like you're like a little stick man, and the levels are super flat and minimalistic with a 2D style platforming. Number 25 is Unruly Heroes. I have never ever played this game. It does have up to 4-player co-op, and I will probably end up picking it up sometime soon to try it out. And I think I'm going to include this on my next co-op video because I'm up to 71 games, but as I try to make my way to 100 games, I'm going to include this one because I've yet to include this in the list as we go to 200. So this game, the Sacred Scroll, preserving harmony in our world, has been torn up and scattered to the winds. Now strange and terrifying creatures are sowing discord and chaos through the land. Inspired by the famous Chinese novel Journey to the West, Unruly Heroes tells the adventure of 4 totally opposite and plausible heroes who must collect all of the scroll fragments and travel to fantastical worlds. When I look at the game, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Rayman, like the way the colors are used and the way the characters are kind of like very flat in the way they move. It does have it's off of a Chinese novel, so it does have a very, I don't know, Asian aesthetic to it. But yeah, I've never played this. I have no idea if it's any good. If you guys have played this game, please let me know in the comments. Is this a great platformer? Do you recommend it? Let me know your thoughts on the game. Number 26, Super Meat Boy and Super Meat Boy Forever. Tough as nails platformers. These you basically go through and you try to go from one end to a level to another. And they're very, very short and quick levels usually. And with Super Meat Boy, you are trying to save your girlfriend. And then with Super Meat Boy Forever, you actually have a baby. And that baby is kidnapped and you have to go and rescue that baby. And it gives Super Meat Boy Forever gives you even more levels where you're trying to go through these insane levels from the very beginning to the end as quickly as possible, bouncing off of walls, avoiding saw blades, etc. So that is number 26, Super Meat Boy and Super Meat Boy Forever. Okay, number 27, Steam World Dig 2. This is another title that I picked up on my early Switch days. And in this title, you're in this kind of like this western town at the very top, and what you do is you kind of dig all the way down underneath the town, and you kind of discover this whole underneath world, and you meet people that actually live underneath the world, and you pick up these little power-ups along the way. You upgrade your characters as far as their efficiency with digging. It's actually beautiful levels. It took me about 10 hours or so, anywhere from 7 to 10 to beat the game. It wasn't the longest game to beat, but I love the characters in it. The gameplay was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't put the damn Switch down at all, not once. I just had to beat it, and I knew it wasn't a very long game, so I'm like, I just have to beat this game. But I absolutely had a great time. But you go down through underneath this under part of the town, underneath into the ground as far as you can, and you're basically trying to figure out who this boss mastermind is that wants to destroy the entire town. All right, so number 28 is a game that I never knew existed until today. I was doing my research on trying to find other games that I didn't have on my Switch, and I came across a game called Slime Sand, and apparently it's got a great rating on Metacritic. It's got an 82 on Metacritic, and it's on sale right now for a few days. At the time of this video, I think it's 6 more days that it'll be on sale, from $11 to about $3. The characters look amazing in this game. The art style looks fantastic. It looks completely different than anything I've ever seen. I love the music they used in the trailer for this game. And in this game, it's really, really simple. You're a slime character that was swallowed by a worm, and you're trying to get out of the worm, and meanwhile you're platforming through these levels as fast as you can, trying to avoid stomach acid as it's coming after you. I cannot wait to play this. I've already purchased it. I downloaded it, and I'm gonna have a video coming out very soon on this game, the gameplay for it. And it just looks, it looks. I mean, I'm hoping I'm not hyping it up too much to the point where I get disappointed when I play it, because I always put myself through that sometimes, where I'm like, this game looks so amazing. And then all of a sudden when I play it, I'm like, okay, well, I hyped it, just kind of like when you ruin a movie. You're so hyped up by the movie, and you ruin it because you took it to the next level. So that's number 28. Number 29 is Super Lucky's Tale. Here you join Lucky on his thrilling journey through the Book of Ages, a magical artifact that opens doors to amazing worlds, meet new friends, explore exciting lands, and recover the missing pages from the evil sorcerer Jinx and his villainous family, the dreaded Kitty Litter. This game, it looks beautiful. It's a 3D platformer. I like the way it looks. This is another one of those games I haven't played yet. I mean, there's so many games out there. I just don't have time and money to pick up every single game. But a lot of YouTubers have actually picked this up. They enjoy the game. It looks like one of those games where once you're done playing Super Mario Odyssey, it gives you something else in a 3D environment, platforming, that just looks really, really cute. It's very family game oriented. I think that even adults or kids should be able to play this game without a problem. And from what I've seen is that it's got bosses in it, cute characters, and lots of things that you can kind of discover and find along the way in your journey. So that is Super Lucky Tale at number 29. Number 30, Cave Story Plus. This game, very, very, very short game. It's probably about I would say about 2.5 hours, maybe 3. Not very long. It is $19 for a 3-hour game, which is kind of nuts. The thing that's so amazing about this game is that it is a game that is so minimalistic. It doesn't tell you a whole lot. You go through this platforming adventure, and you meet a few characters along the way. Not many characters, only like a couple. You'll see like a mad scientist. You'll see another like girl robot that you come across. And this game is so minimalistic, but yet it has a lot of emotion to it. It has a lot of like character to it. It's an absolutely amazing game. And the other thing that I love about this game is that it has multiple endings, and you can screw up getting the best ending in this game easily, because you have to save a particular character, you have to get items in a particular way, or else you will not unlock the very last level to get the ultimate ending. So yeah, it is 2.5, 3 hours, but if you easily mess up the ultimate ending, which you will, because I did that in the very first go around, There was something, actually in the first go around, I didn't save the character that I needed to save because I needed a particular item that I didn't have. I didn't figure that out until I was probably about 3/4 through the game, and so then so then I immediately went online. I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my god. So then I just killed my game. I said, screw it, I'm not going to go any further because I want the ultimate ending. And I figured out what things I needed, and I went through and played it over again. The last level in this game, when you go for the ultimate level, for the ultimate ending, is hard as hell. The music in this game is great. Just it takes you back to those 8-bit days where it was all about imagination. It's about games that don't show you a whole lot, and they're very pixelated, very simplistic, but yet there's just something in there that makes your head kind of fill in the rest of the game with your imagination. It's a beautiful game. It's a little expensive though. I'm not gonna lie. $19 for a 3-hour game is silly, but it's a fantastic game. Okay, and number 31 is Ghost and Goblins Resurrection. This game is not out yet. It's not out until the 25th of February, but I thought I would add this to this list because Ghost and Goblins was a fantastic game back in the day. I remember playing it in the arcades, playing it on the NES system, and they're redoing it. They're redoing it. They're kind of remastering it, bringing it with all new graphics. I don't know if the levels are going to be any different. I don't know if they're going to add new levels to it, but it looks, from the trailers that I've seen so far of the game, it looks absolutely fantastic. It might be a little on the expensive side right now. They're asking $29, which is not a terrible price. But at the same time, I look at it as, you know what? They already knew what levels they had. They already knew what the characters were. They didn't have to actually engineer the game from the very beginning with, we'll start as far as characters and enemies and plot and stuff. So they already had something to work off of. So I completely understand that these guys, these developers and stuff, need to get paid for all this new work they're doing on bringing new life to these games. But at the same time, there's not a whole, there's nothing. It's not like they had to create a lot of this from scratch as far as the characters and the story and the levels. They had something good to base their ideas off of already from the previous titles. I kind of wish this game was probably a little bit more on the $19 side, but I'm sure once it comes out and it's out probably for like 2 or 3 months, it'll probably hit a sale, especially if it doesn't sell. It'll probably hit a deep sale, which will drop it from the $29 price tag down to like $15 or something. And that will probably be a great time to pick this up. But there you go, guys. 31 games, platform games on the Nintendo Switch. One of them going to be released in the 25th of February. The other one's already out. I feel like a good portion of these games on this list are pretty decently priced. Some of them are a little expensive for what you get, but a lot of these games that are on this list also do go on sale quite a bit. I'm Jim the Game Guru. I am your video game and board game nerd. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Please like the video if you liked it. If there's a game that you guys would like to see some gameplay on, either on this list or some other compilation videos, just let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to see what I can do about getting that game and creating a gameplay video of it. Anyway, I am Jim the Game Guru. I am out, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!